So you're on the fence about the new Magic Keyboard? This video is for you. I'll give you the lowdown, what I like, what I don't, and if it's worth the upgrade. Hey, what's up guys? It's Renz. Welcome back to the channel. So I've been using the Magic Keyboard now since pretty much day one. I've used it with the big 12.9 inch and smaller 11 inch models with both the M2 and M4 chips. As someone who creates content, writes, and edits photos and videos, I put it through its paces. I like the old Magic Keyboard, but it wasn't perfect. So I was super stoked when Apple revamped it. They fixed some of the issues and added features we've all been begging for. Now, after a week of using it, I've got some thoughts, so let's get right into it. What separates the Magic Keyboard from other third-party accessories is its ease of use. This new keyboard is no different. Your iPad attaches to it magnetically and you're good to go in seconds. And this kind of floating iPad effect looks beautiful as well. Something that I have to give kudos to Apple for designing. The magnets that connect to the keyboard are sturdy and need some force to remove. And since the new iPads are thinner, it's been a pleasure to carry it around. It does feel like carrying a thin notebook. However, it is limited by the various angles you can tilt it, but I'll be going over that later. But overall, nothing has changed ease of use for this new one. The keyboard has a premium build quality, it has an aluminum wrist guard, and feels great to the touch. The new glass trackpad is also bigger now, and it has haptic feedback. I did notice one thing though. The trackpad is much quieter than the previous one. The previous generation feels and looks a lot cheaper now. The trackpad is comparable to how my MacBook Pro trackpad feels. I'm wondering if it's made out of the same material, so I'm super curious to find out. The trackpad supports familiar multi-gestures. For example, swiping up with 3 fingers shows the multi-app view. And a cursor appears when navigating your iPad to give you that laptop feel. The keyboard case is made out of the same material as the previous generation. It has some scratch resistance. I'm actually planning to get a dbrand skin so I can protect the surface of this keyboard, but we'll see how that goes. The silver color is super nice. I chose this because it won't show fingerprints as much as the space black version. The addition of the function row keys is super convenient. That was one of my main complaints about the older generation Magic keyboards. I hated swiping down from the control center to adjust brightness. Now with this new version, it's right at your fingertips. I actually had to remind myself that the brightness is actually there. I'm used to controlling it with the control center. Of course, you have the escape key, spotlight, and media control buttons. The function row comes in handy and makes using my iPad way more enjoyable. It starts to feel like a touchscreen laptop, but the real question is, will it actually replace my laptop? That's another topic for another time. Typing feels great on this as well. It uses the same scissor switches as before. I don't feel a big difference from the previous model. Typing is enjoyable though. In fact, I scripted this whole video using this keyboard. It's comfortable to type on for hours and comparable to how a regular Magic keyboard feels. The travel is great for quiet and responsive typing. The aluminum base feels nice under my wrist and it adds to the comfort. It feels very much like an Apple keyboard. The typing experience is as you would expect from any MacBook. This keyboard also supports USB-C pass-through for charging. It's convenient, especially if you work at your desk. I wish it could read external devices though. It would be more convenient than having an SSD pretty much just hanging off of the iPad. So one could hope that they add this feature to the next generation Magic keyboard. I think the 11-inch size is perfect for everyday use. I've used a 12.9-inch size iPad and it was way too big. I felt like I've used that iPad way less because it was bigger and not travel friendly. But since I switched to an 11-inch, it's much nicer to use. I can put it in my backpack and pretty much just take it anywhere. And with the new thinner iPad body, it is, in my opinion, the best size. There's a lot to love about the new Magic keyboard, but here are some things I don't love. The obvious first reason is the price. The Magic keyboard is $299 for the 11-inch and $350 for the 13-inch. It's not cheap and it might turn a lot of people off. Logitech makes other good alternatives, but none are as nice as Apple's own product. I, however, think it is worth it, especially for a device that I'll be using every day. So I know I will get a lot of use with it. If you primarily use this as a tablet and don't type often, then the Magic keyboard is not needed. It's a nice to have, but with an expensive price tag. One thing I wish the Magic keyboard did was provide more viewing angles. You're pretty limited in terms of how much of an angle you can tilt the iPad. So in the event I want to write on the iPad, I have to take it out of the keyboard. However, you can solve this by using an iPad stand that can provide those angles, such as the Anker 8-in-1 dock. I love the angles this stand provides, but I'll cover this stand more in depth with my iPad accessories video, so stay tuned for that. Another thing I noticed with this iPad is the keyboard doesn't sit flush with the hinge and USB-C pass-through, which is surprising since the bottom part of the keyboard is made out of aluminum. It's sensitive even if you tip the iPad a little bit, so you have to be extra careful. It's not a deal breaker though, but something that I noticed a couple of times, especially when I grab my Apple Pencil. Also, what would be great is a dedicated nest to put your Apple Pencil. It's quite annoying at times when I'm holding it and having this constant fear of dropping it. One thing to keep in mind is that using this accessory means your iPad is prone to damage if you drop it. Yes, you can get the third-party cases and still connect to the keyboard, but they won't have the same ergonomic feel because they will be thicker. So it's best to add that Apple Care if you're clumsy. So, is it worth it to get the Magic Keyboard for your new M4 iPad Pro? Well, it depends. If this is your main device for work, if you're a designer or student, then this keyboard is worth the price. You'll use it a lot, it's the newer model, and you'll be future-proof until the next one, which will be a couple of years from now. The new aluminum feel is great, the function row keys are welcome additions, with some of the drawbacks I mentioned. If you already have a dedicated laptop and you'll only use this device for personal use or like emails for example, then this accessory is a nice to have, but not required. You can definitely get some cheaper third-party options, but whatever camp you're in, I think it's worth it. I can't imagine an iPad without it. I'll definitely be using it a lot this year as I crank out more videos like these, but that's pretty much it. Are you going to be purchasing the new Magic Keyboard? And if so, how are you going to be using it? Let me know down below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you want to see more content like this one, you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Other than that, see you guys in the next one. Peace.